All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakak, Kadash. Of course, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the sincere Akim of Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakak, Kadash. Okay, being occupied in prophecy. All right, so we're just going to get right into it, man. This past Saturday, these brothers had come along, this 2/3 who was a Donald Trump supporter, and talking about all these different accomplishments that this devil, okay, this Edomite, which Donald Trump, he's an Edomite, has made for the so-called economy, which is a damn lie, okay? And we have the statistics, we had the facts, okay, to substantiate that. But more importantly, we had the prophecies that foretold everything that was going to pursue in the latter times to reflect the downfall of our enemy, okay, as well as the destruction of this kingdom known as America, okay, or the great Babylon in the scriptures, all right, the daughter of Babylon. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going off of, okay? That's where we base our information off of, okay? Everything is filtered through the scriptures. So this guy is completely off, and he's completely clueless and lost. He's in the Isaiah 60 and first precept, man, meaning in that gross darkness. Okay, that's the spirit he's in. But we're just gonna start off with Habakkuk chapter 2. Okay.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4.
Yep.
It says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith."
Keep going.
It says, "Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people."
As a matter of fact, start from the top. Slaki.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "I will stand upon my watch, and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved."
Right, so we are standing upon our watch. We've been put in the lot as the watchmen of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, okay? And we've been reproved. We've been given the instruction and the direction as to what to do in these latter times, right? Okay. And so with that comes responsibility. It's now been given to us to prophesy all the words that have been spoken aforetime, okay? Concerning judgments, concerning nations, okay? Concerning the nation of Israel, concerning the nation of Edom, and concerning the heathen as well, all right? And we know we're at the time of the end. We see all the signs before us. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 2 says, "And Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it."
Right, the vision are these prophecies, okay?
"For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie."
Right, Khan, that's the point that I wanted to make, okay? According to the title of the lesson, all right? The end is speaking. The end is speaking. All right, continue.
It says, "Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come."
Right, so for Slaki, for a time, it appeared as though things weren't necessarily happening, or they weren't happening fast enough. Now we're at a time where things are happening so fast, you can't even keep up.
Yeah.
It's just one prophecy after the next, and the prophecies on a daily basis are continually increasing, okay? People are waxing worse and worse in their sins. Okay, this damn devil is losing his mind, trying to make all these different power moves, trying to, stabilize his rulership and his authority on the earth, but he's losing grip. All right, and we're gonna just break some of these things down, and get really right into it. That was the point on that. So it's not tarrying anymore. Okay, we're at the point where it's not gonna lie. Okay, it's speaking. Okay, so for all those unbelievers, as a matter of fact, just real quick, give me Romans 3:3. All right, so because you have unbelievers out there who don't have the eyes to perceive what's going on, okay, what's really happening, it's not going to change anything, all right? Because we see it, and the truth is this has only been given to the Lord's elect anyways to see. So that's who this message is for. It's not for the whole nation of Israel right now, because the whole nation of Israel has not the spirit of our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, okay? And it sure as hell, on the grand scheme of things, not for the heathen nation to understand. Their lot designation is to simply be destroyed and go into slavery. So we don't give a damn if they understand this thing or not. We still gonna tell you your judgment, but we don't give a damn whether or not you can comprehend it. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Romans chapter 3 and 3. Where it reads, For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect?
Right, so your unbelief ain't going to have any impact on whether or not these prophecies come to pass. The Lord sanctioned it, therefore it shall be. Okay? And everybody is subject to the will and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, whether you're on the right-hand side of the Father or you're on the left-hand side of the Father. Every spirit is subject to the higher authority. That higher authority is Yahushai, okay? Which power has been given unto him by his Father Yahweh. So you can't get around that. You got something, Mark? You got something too? Okay, come. Just come with it, man. Let these scriptures speak, man. This should be very forward to the point where the scriptures is doing all the talking. Go ahead.
This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers.
Right. Donald Trump has done more for the economy than any other president before him, trying to make it seem like America got all this time, man. He basically in that Edomite spirit where Esau really believes that his house will continue forever. And you got Jake who wants to literally stay in this captivity and oppression. They're completely confused. They're lost, man. They're literally out of their minds, to put it, simply. They've fallen into that spell. Love for that oppressor, man. In so much that that's all that they know. They're comfortable with it now. They're at a point where they don't want to change, man. They don't really want to repent. They're staying on them. They staying on him that smote him, man. They're staying upon the enemy. That's why the Lord got to destroy them, because Jake ain't at a point right now where they have been given the ability to repent. They haven't been given the gift of faith. And all those things together is what you need in order for you to make real changes within yourself. Okay? So you can actually see these things, but you're not going to be able to see them if the Lord didn't give you the spirit to see. And that's the facts. That's the truth. Come with it again. Start at the top.
This 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3 says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts.
Walking after their own lusts. What they believe to be the truth is. All right?
It says, in saying, where is the promise of his coming?
Right. Because things don't happen. See, these people are so basically at a point where everything has to happen right now, like that impulsive, instant gratification, that they don't have any appreciation for things that take time. See, we're on the timeline of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and he does things very, very, I want to say, not just systematically or incrementally, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's very precise, okay? And it's perfect, okay? The Lord got it to where, like during the time of Pharaoh, I can give you an example. Like during the time of Pharaoh, here it is, the Lord did all these things, plagues and curses.
Delivered us out of there.
Right. And Pharaoh's heart only got more hard. And the Lord just brought upon him more judgment until he finally broke and he destroyed the army. Obviously, there's some other events. The Pharaoh's army went after the children of Israel. They got swallowed up in the Red Sea. Okay? But the point is, the Yahweh Shai is a mastermind, and everybody's subject to his will. So they're not really deviating from the master plan. I guess to put it more simply.
It says, in saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep.
Right, because they haven't been given the eyes to see prophecy. Okay, because it seems to them in their own mind that things are not happening according to the prophecy, which is a delusion that the Heavenly Father has sent them, which is more so what I was trying to get at, The Lord basically sent them a strong delusion that America got all this time yet because you have certain so-called liberties and freedoms. To them, America still got a while, or just destruction is not as near as it really is.
Yeah, and a lot of, if I can say real quick, a lot of them, they're in that denial spirit because they're loving their life, they're loving what the wickedness that they can do in Babylon. They're enjoying their time to do wickedness because they know there's going to be a time that the Most High, the Heavenly Father, is going to put an end to that. So they're trying to hold on as long as they can. So they're denying the truth, closing their eyes.
Right, trying to prolong their destruction.
It says, for since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
Right, that's the spirit of Jake. Like basically, you know what? Everybody's one people now. Why y'all focusing on Esau, Edom? It's a different time. All this and that. But really, what they don't understand is things are changing. Things are changing. Things aren't continuing as they were, okay? Only to you and your spirit because you're wicked, like the brother said. So you're falling into that category of an undesirable that the Most High don't want. So He's chose your delusion for you, and you're going to have to be destroyed. But to the men of the Lord, we see things crystal clear, all right? We see things through that spiritual lens, all right? And clarity and focus has been brought to what we can see, all right? What we can see is the end of Esau, Edom's rulership, the end of wickedness, okay? And that's what we're all about, man. Those prophecies, because we want the kingdom to come.
Yeah.
The average Jake, they don't want the kingdom, man.
Yeah. Quick precept. It's Jeremiah chapter 17:15. Behold, they say unto me, where is the word of Yahweh? Let it come now.
Yeah, Jake basically don't have no patience, lack of patience, and lack of faith. You know.
Okay. I got the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, and I'm gonna start at verse 41. It says, even so now, seeing corruption has grown up and wickedness increased.
And that's true. Corruption has grown up, right? Wickedness has increased, but that's according to prophecy.
Yep.
That's a direct correlation to prophecy. That's exactly what the Lord said was going to happen. What do you expect when the devil that the Bible speaks of is in rulership?
Yeah. Wickedness is going to be multiplied.
Wicked is going to be multiplied.
Yeah.
Evil is going to be multiplied. And that's exactly what you see. You see that. Oh, go ahead.
It says, and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly. Wherefore shall it not be so now also? He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth abide.
Right. This present life is not the end. Okay? It's not the end. So you gotta that's why 2 Peter says that we gotta be in haste for the coming of the day of the Lord. Right? Because there's coming a time where the Lord is gonna put out all evil, all wickedness, okay? And we have a kingdom that's going to be established forever. That'll be the end.
Yep.
You know? So to speak. Meaning the end of the Israelites, right? The beginning of the first. You know, the beginning of it that followeth.
Yep.
The end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, that's the end of Esau's rulership, and the beginning of Jacob. Okay.
Yep. Reads on. It says, he answered me and said, "This present life is not the end."
His present life is not the end. Jake act like this is what it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Hell no, man. We have glorious things coming on to us if we are the men of the Lord, well, of the elect, you know, and of course, then all Israel is going to be saved. Okay.
As it's written.
Go ahead.
It says, "Where much glory doth abide, therefore have we prayed for the weak."
Hey, shalom, Akim.
Yep, shalom. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time. The day of doom, like doomsday and stuff. You know, literally, you got articles are being published talking about doomsday is upon us, is near.
Right.
Nuclear war.
And that's the premise of the lesson.
Come.
Okay, the end is speaking. So this individual was strongly misinformed, and you know, we weren't going to go too deep into it, but we have the stats.
Come.
He was boasting about the stock market, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's speaking about this is a particular guy came up to the camp talking. He was pro-Trump, had a pro-2020
Israelite.
Trump. Yeah, Jake. You know,
most jobs ever created, stock market's up. But here's the thing:
Trump did more than better than any other
president. But when you actually look at the real statistics behind this inflated idea that America has been doing the best it's ever been, it's all goddamn lies. It's a ruse. The numbers are clear, man. Unemployment is actually at an all-time high, and the reflection of that is the amount of store closings we've seen since his presidency. On average, it's anywhere between 5,000 to 7,000 per year. This year alone, it's set to break records of the amount of store closures. We're talking about average individuals, okay? Average so-called Americans who work 9 to 5, who make minimum wage, who are either at that poverty level or little maybe just above it, who are living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
That's That's the reflection of the real economy. The stock market only makes for a small percentage of the elite that are actually bidding on where the markets are going to go, which is disproportionate to how that reflects on the actual rest of the nation who can't afford to do that or who are not in that top percentile of wealthy individuals. So it's a damn scheme. It's a damn lie.
And a big thing with the, if I can say this,
Yeah,
a big
go
thing with the unemployment rate, if somebody is not actively seeking a job, they're not considered unemployed.
Mhm.
So they're taken off of that list.
It's not reported.
And, yeah,
That's
and a
it.
lot of these people are in that Tupac Shakur spirit. They're hopeless. You know, they're not even looking for a job anymore. That's how you know you've
Right.
given up on life if you don't even look for, you don't have a job,
Right.
you don't even look for one.
Right, look at Skid Row. Even in this city, man, motherfuckers are just buying tents and saying fuck it.
Yeah.
Living outside of tents, man.
Panhandling.
Yeah.
Yup, and doing opioids and
Yeah.
self-medicating. Yup.
Living in vans.
Living in vans.
Yeah.
That's why that
Living
thing
in
is so trendy, man. Living that whole van life. You got a lot of people doing that shit, man.
Okay.
Forget rent, forget a mortgage. It's more so a minimalist mindset right now because of how expensive things are going or have gone. And that's another thing as far as how things reflect the economy. You know, I was telling these brothers before we started the lesson that my ex-employer, what they used to do was survey the area and get numbers as far as how the cost of living went up, and they would determine whether or not they needed to give an increase in pay so that they can keep up with that. And every year, okay, even in Donald Trump's presidency, the cost of living continues to go up. Now, a lot of employers, and most employers, they see what the next guy is doing and they base it off of that. And guess what? Most employers don't give raises. They don't give annual raises. You're stuck at whatever that minimum wage rate is,
Yep, locked in.
okay? For years.
Yeah, there's like no actual.
So you get paid the same,
Yep.
meanwhile the costs continue to rise.
Yep.
And then we were also talking off the camera. This is some things that we wanted to mention that y'all brothers can look up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we have at least one article we're probably going to read from, depending on how the spirit takes this thing. But the point is you have a lot of individuals who are supplementing their income via credit cards or loans. And that's how they're getting by from one paycheck to the next. And that's a reality, man. That's why, statistically speaking, I believe it's about 51% are literally one event away,
Emergency, yep.
one emergency away
From falling.
from basically being homeless,
Yep.
all right,
Yeah, I did a video on that before. Yep.
or not being able to keep up with their expenses. So
Mhm.
that's a transmission blown. You need a new tire. Tires are not cheap, man. You know,
Yep.
tires are not cheap. Let's say you have a a blowout. You need to repair two tires. Two tires can cost you $400.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't got savings like that. That's the thing. So they can't afford an outstanding expense like that. Otherwise, it's going to put them in the hole. And that's where they're supplementing income. They're borrowing more money. They can't afford these types of things. So, I mean, y'all brothers can take with them precepts. But we just kind of wanted to give a little bit of a premise, a little bit of a background and introduction. We see it, man. Infrastructure, economy, everything is in a decline, a rapid decline, okay? The global economy, rapid decline. The relationships, globally, internationally, are failing.
Brexit.
You know this, I know this brother, yeah. I know you're going to hit it a little bit. Go ahead if you
You're
want
going
to.
to the actual Brexit and stuff, that whole situation.
Right,
The situation between, you have the EU nations, all right?
right,
And you have, of course, Great Britain being a member state with the EU. They want a Brexit leaving the EU in that
Right.
partnership. And of course, that being that Great Britain, which is a major contributor to the EU, you know, as a body, right? Contributing a major amount of their revenue to the EU,
right,
all right? You have certain people in of course, the European Union don't want them to leave, but then you have Great Britain want to leave, but then Great Britain really don't want to render that out.
right.
You know, and if they do leave, it's gonna, of course, affect all of these various facets, of course, of life for people, such
Exactly.
as your medical.
Mhm.
You have some people that are actual British nationals now living in the EU. So then that, of course, is a issue goes within the immigration. All right. You have obviously people that work in other EU member states. Okay. You know, now of course they gotta find out a way to be able to sustain themselves. You know, they move back to where their home is country is. Okay. But now then well, my whole life I built in Spain, and I'm a Great British citizen. It's a lot of craziness.
Right, a lot of confusion.
Yeah, and there's a lot, of course, confusion because a
It's
lot
going
of
to
these
create a lot of
companies.
bad blood.
Yep, yeah, a lot of these companies and stuff, they don't know what to do because, this whole Brexit situation, it impacts their future, all right?
Exactly.
How they're going to actually be affected by this, because all of the different, you got no deal possible on the table. It's all a bloody shambles when you go into it.
Right, and the point is if you couldn't have come to a resolution by now while you all
Right.
were together, what makes you separate and causing anything to be different or change? It's just going to damage relationships even further. That's
Right.
all that's going to do. And like the brother said, it's going to have a great impact on
Global
everybody
economy,
involved.
yep, that's it. Yep,
Okay,
it's gonna shock.
especially the average everyday,
Yep,
you know,
that's it.
citizen of that nation.
Kinda.
So that's where we see, the part iron, part clay,
Yep,
10 toes,
Yep,
everything's breaking apart.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah.
These different relationships that the beast has built has fallen apart.
Yep, that's
Okay,
it.
so this is the Lord again at work, destroying everything. Another thing I wanted to mention about our economy, all right, is a real true reflection of how the economy is doing. Is you look at the debt levels.
Yeah.
So you look at the GDP. Now, I was looking at the GDP for 2017. Now, they say that in 2019, we're only in our second quarter, so we're looking at about 5.3 million, okay, of gross domestic product,
yeah.
okay? But they did give the stats for 2017 when I did the quick search, okay? And I think it was around 19 trillion. Now, here's the thing with that, okay? Their gross domestic product is significantly smaller than the national debt average. So basically, you didn't bring as much in as you're spending, essentially.
Right.
Okay, so you're continually in debt. You still didn't eliminate the 22 trillion. So you can't be a business and say, I made $1 million this year, but I spent 5 million.
Okay.
Well, you're not at a surplus. You're at a deficit then.
Right.
Those are true markers to see how the markets are really going, how to see how the economy is really going.
Okay.
And then we talked about job loss. That's a real reflection of how the economy is.
Okay.
You have hundreds of thousands of people losing their jobs. They're not working. They're not putting back into the economy.
And that's
They're
the worst.
struggling,
Mhm.
right? So there's a lot of compensation that has to be done,
Yeah.
right? If people are filing for unemployment, who's paying for that?
Right.
See, so these are the things that are true reflection of the economy, and it isn't good.
Right.
It's at its end. Again, going back to the title of the lesson. So now we can get the scriptures to substantiate because we already stated the facts. We gave you enough seeds to go ahead and do your own research, man.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get.
And people will say, well, retail stores are closing because of e-commerce. E-commerce only makes a small percentage for those store closures. The reality is these different manufacturers, these different retail stores are literally going bankrupt.
Right.
They're having to lay off employees, and that money and revenue is not being put back into the business. Okay? Which means if the business closed down, people can't actually go there to shop there.
Nope.
So in retrospect, it's not solely e-commerce is not the driving force behind these store closures when you go in deeper into the research and you don't accept just surface level information. Okay? It's not to say that it doesn't have an impact, because it does. It's just not according to the statistics Esau would want you to believe. All right?
Quick, the ICAD mentioned this too in our one conversation before we sat on the camera. It says the stock market is not the economy.
Yeah, read that again so people can understand.
It says this is off of the street or real money the street.com.
Right.
And it reads the stock market is not the economy.
The stock market is not the economy, and most people, when they turn on the television, that's how they gauge whether or not the economy's doing good.
Right.
Meanwhile, their ass is working a fucking 9 to 5. They're not seeing any of these profits that the stock market and big corporations are seeing in these investments.
Yeah.
But they'll put it on the television and say, "Oh, the S&P 500 is up.
Yeah.
The economy doing good. NASDAQ,
Yeah.
Up 300 points.
That's
The economy
the
doing
average.
good."
Yeah.
And like I said, you have big players that are literally bidding on how the stocks are going to go, how businesses are going to go, and they only make up for a very small percentage of the wealth of America. So it's disproportionately inaccurate. It's in an imbalance. It doesn't really truly reflect the rest of the nation. Okay, the people that don't have that kind of money.
The laborers,
The laborers, exactly.
It says the economy is simply put is the wealth of a country. Which
Right,
we know
and
is-
so the GDP, if it's only 19 trillion back in it's only 19 trillion back in 2017, and the debt still is at 22 trillion.
Yep.
America's only in its second quarter sitting at 5.3 million. There you go. Those are your numbers.
Right.
And how many store closures?
They got 8,200 store closures
In this year alone.
Yep.
So since this man's been in office,
retail apocalypse. Yep.
yeah, that's why they call it the retail apocalypse. That's why the real reason why they call it the retail apocalypse is not because the e-commerce is the driving force behind it, but it's because literally since this man's been in office, we've had thousands upon thousands upon thousands of jobs lost. Okay, plenty of manufacturers declaring bankruptcy. What was the most recent one?
About.
I know American Apparel. They declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, so you have some of the different stores with you had the clearance specifically you want for you got like Payless filed bankruptcy in February and is planning to
Right.
close.
Now, what does that mean when you file bankruptcy? That means you didn't have the money. Okay? That means you couldn't pay back the money. That means you weren't making any kind of revenue.
Yeah.
You had a default,
Yep.
essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what most of these corporations have done. They've borrowed that easy money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Quantitative easing. They've
Uh-huh.
borrowed that easy money at low interest rates,
Yep.
but it was only borrowed money. So the money that they brought in didn't equal what they had to borrow to continue as a business.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they only put themselves further in
Into
debt,
Yeah, that's more.
having to declare bankruptcy. So these are the real numbers. These are the real indicators as to how an economy is doing good or bad. And we see that it is doing the worst ever, man.
Yep.
As according to prophecy, though.
That's right.
That's why we see these things coming to pass. So with that, read some more of that.
Yep. Yeah.
Just go in the spirit, read some more of
Yeah.
that, but then we got to get Isaiah, and we got to get Jeremiah.
God.
whatever all y'all have.
It says is the wealth of it says with the economy, which is household management, it says simply put is the wealth of a country in terms of production and consumption of goods and services. With so much data,
Right, production, is low.
yeah, manufacturing, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, different manufacturing things is barely made here. And of course, things are made in China and such.
Right.
All right, then of course you got the trade
Trade
war
war.
that's happening. Okay.
Right, so for
Trump,
whatever we don't produce and we rely on other nations to,
Right.
to
you're gonna import it in,
right.
right? Into it, and then really when you go into it, that we actually as the importer is gonna pay that cost, all right,
Exactly.
from receiving these goods,
The
and that of
consumers
course
are
hits
gonna-
the consumer. Yep,
The
that's right.
consumers are going to front those costs
Yep.
ultimately.
So that and people barely got money there on as we was going into in credit,
Yeah,
credit-based system.
Right.
Yeah, people sitting there thinking they spending because they spending money. It's just money that of course is built on credit,
right.
which is credit is nothing but a
Borrowed money.
number, yeah.
It's just borrowed
Yeah,
money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why this is referred to as a debt-based system.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the money that we use that we think we have in our pockets that we earn from our whatever jobs we work, or it's a credit line or a loan, it's all borrowed money from the Federal Reserve. Okay?
Yep. It's a private entity.
And the scriptures clearly tell you that the servant
It's,
or the borrower
it's subject-
rather is
yeah.
servant to the lender.
Yep.
Okay, so we're not independent as people think financially because we're relying on an outside source for our money.
Yep.
Okay, in which there's interest paid. Okay.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, the whole system itself on how, just a little bit of a background, give you a little bit more understanding. The way that our money is actually brought into this country is through what they call a bond system. So they go before the banks,
Mhm.
okay, and they ask for a certain amount of money that they need, and they'll print it up for them.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm just using very layman terms.
Okay.
They'll print the money for them in exchange for bonds, or what they refer to as IOUs. So we'll print you this money,
Right.
and we'll put it in circulation in your economy, but you need to give it back. So that's the IOU or the bonds
Mm-hmm.
with whatever interest levels that they set. Complete debt, man. Fraudulent.
Yeah, that's Habakkuk, man.
Yeah.
The thick clay, leading
Exactly.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah. The thick debts. Right?
God, I'm gonna finish this off. It says.
So even on that alone, it's impossible for the economy to be doing well
Right, before.
because there's no intrinsic value in our wealth system or in our financial system to begin with. It's all borrowed monies.
Yep.
If you can even call it money, slack.
God, right? Yeah, because It says, yeah, with so much data and news flooding our screens and ears, we often misinterpret what it all means. The
Right.
stock market is but one indicator of the economy. Over time, it has become a pretty accurate one, but it says it often foretells what is likely to occur in the economy.
Right. What is likely, not definitely.
Right.
We already told you what a true reflection is. Things that are actually occurring and happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, different levels of debt. And we see all-time levels of student loan debt, all-time levels of credit card debt, or all-time highs, I should say, of credit card debt. You know, so everybody pretty much is in debt to some degree or another.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I believe it's like, I did a lesson about, I believe like the Americans are $87,000 each in debt. You know, that was reported before, you know, from your birth.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's crazy. Finishing off, it says...
So how the hell the economy doing good if everybody owes money?
Right. To the elite, yep. It says the stock market is discounting, a discounting mechanism, discounting prices into the future based on trends, which go into the algorithms,
Right.
patterns, relationships, and certain economic data. It says the stock market and the economy are not generally mutually exclusive. It says the stock market is not the economy. Rather, it is one data point that indicates how the economy is doing and may perform down the road.
Right. So, I mean, that's basically straight to the point, self-explanatory. Don't be putting your trust in the stock market where it can be easily manipulated.
Yeah.
And while it might be potentially an indicator of how things are, it's not the be-all.
Yep.
It's not a real true metric to weigh the value of the economy at a particular point, because it's only really of where it may or may not go, but not a true reflection of the economy at the time. Okay? Says that's why China introduced the Panda Bond, which is backed by gold. Exactly. Real intrinsic wealth. And that's another thing that these people don't understand in this country is how so many different nations are moving away from the dollar bill. See, we're getting ready to see hyperinflation in this country like never before. Because that money is not being circulated throughout the global economy like it once was, because these different nations are not investing in the dollar to buy the resources that America done stole, all right, or regulate at this current point in time. All right, they're investing in Panda bonds or the Petro Yuan,
Yeah, Petro Yuan.
or they're just investing in alternative resources altogether amongst themselves. Right, that's why you have BRICS.
Yeah, BRICS. You got, of course,
Brazil.
Going to Brazil.
Right.
India.
Right.
You got China, and you have South Africa. All right, Russia.
Yeah.
All right, part of that whole economy of you have obviously these major global economy or countries that are on the rise.
Exactly.
Economically and such.
Yeah,
You
Russia
know?
and Turkey militarily becoming closer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Ezekiel 38.
Exactly.
You know, them being a guard onto them and such.
You know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then you have
They use it.
this whole thing over, Syria basically, is one factor. The different things going on in Syria and just basically globally right now, because war is in the air. Russia and China, okay, and Iran.
Yep.
Because a lot of these nations are circumventing the sanctions that they're trying to put on these other countries and Iran for giving Iran support.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. So this is really the state of the globe, the globe really, It's the state of the world. The affairs of the world right now, they're not in good case, man. Everybody is divided to some degree, man. The Lord is basically allowing separations to take place because we're at the time of the end, right? We're at the time of war. We're at the time of great famine, pestilence, and plague, man. These people just can't perceive it, but all the signs and indicators are there. Okay, and all the events that we're seeing taking place is literally a reflection of what the scriptures told us was going to happen.
Yeah,
So we need to get some precepts out
got
too.
it. Yeah, bring out precept.
This is Haggai chapter 1 verse 6. It says, "Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes.
Yeah, man, and that's basically the condition, especially of Israel. You know, we work these different jobs, man. A lot of brothers be doing overtime, and the more money you make, the more Esau takes.
Yep, tax
you
you
know,
out.
you get tapped out in them taxes, man. You know, so that little bit extra that you try to make, you know, goes to Esau, man.
Yep, he taking it right back.
Right.
Render
You know, and most brothers, like, if you don't got a family, you're not married, that's not going to be a write-off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't necessarily have dependents.
Kind of.
So, you know what I mean? You're not seeing that money back, man.
Yeah.
You're not seeing that money back at the end of the year, you know?
Kind of.
So, you're basically always put out, man. You're working, and the very little that you increase, that you yield from all your hard labor, doesn't go as far as you need it to, man. You know, like we said, that you're one outstanding expense away. And by outstanding, it doesn't need to be tragic. It's just, you know, something gone wrong with the car.
Right.
You can't get to work. What the hell are you going to do? You can't afford to fix the vehicle. What the hell are you going to do? You can't go to work.
Right. And you can't.
You know what I mean? Like that's what we're talking about, man.
Right.
Basic little simple things that could disrupt, you know, your ability to advance or to be stable.
Mm-hmm.
Really, not to advance. I mean to actually be stable.
Yep.
It's impossible. We just read it.
Kind of.
You know, if we actually if this man was righteous and we dealt with just balances, weights, and measures,
Right.
real resources,
Yeah, so-
instead of him hoarding them and trying to control the nations through resources, right?
Yep.
We would be in a much better case. But that's not. Hey, well, ultimately, it's not the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. But this devil don't rule in no kind of righteousness. That's why the scriptures say that when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. And everybody's in a state of mourning right now. Okay? Even our oppressor, these Edomites are fucking done had it, man.
Yeah. They turn against each other
You know?
and shit. God. Real quick, you finished with that? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 22 and 13. It says, "Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chamberings by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work."
Yeah, we're not given for our work, man. First of all, we get paid either every week or every other week.
Right, bi-weekly
Okay.
bullshit.
Then, like I said, they're constantly taxing your check.
God.
Literally, we're taxing to oblivion. Look that up. Okay? Taxing to oblivion. Basically, it's a record of all the taxes that Americans pay that they're not even aware of that they pay. Virtually everything that you have an expense for comes with a tax, man. You know, meaning you're paying additional monies for that service or for that product. Okay? So, you know, you have the value of the product, then you have what they call the middleman, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what the tax is. So there's always something extra that you're having to put into, you know, whatever product or service you want to
Trying to
use.
get
And it's not a
it.
reflection of the value of that product or service. So you're
Right.
paying additional monies
Mm-hmm.
and you're not getting the equal exchange for your labor or your money, you know?
Yeah.
Constantly, man. It's
And you
constantly.
get inferior products and stuff a lot
Exactly.
of the times.
Exactly. Right.
You know, they making this stuff over there in China for pennies on the dollar.
Right.
They making it, they selling it here. Obviously, you know, 4 times the amount that
Right.
is actually worth this.
And that's the thing, like, things could be gauged so much better. So we mentioned about medium household incomes and the poverty line. Now that works different for different states. You know, in order for you to get those specific statistics and stats, you'd have to look at your particular state.
Mhm.
But let's say, you know, you have an average individual who makes the medium, which is roughly between 29 to 31,000, okay? Which would be considered the household medium income. Okay, on average. You have $30,000 you make a year, okay? Now, you're not really making $30,000 a year because you have your gross, right? And then you have your net.
Yeah.
Your gross is what you really earn, but your net is
Yeah.
the take home.
Yeah, yeah.
You only make $30,000. You have a car note,
Mhm.
you have a mortgage, weekly groceries, weekly expenses, gas, we're
Mhm.
talking, right?
Mhm.
Okay, daycare, or you know, you have children. So we're talking how all these things add up. We are constantly burdened with expenses that literally outweigh our earnings all the time. That's why you see people, again, getting 2 different jobs.
3
They're
jobs.
supplementing their income
Yeah.
through credit.
Mhm.
Okay, more debt essentially.
Yep.
Okay, or they're borrowing money. This is the condition of the world right now.
Kinda.
There's only a small percentage who have any type of wealth that are able to be a little bit more free.
Prosperous, yeah.
Yeah. Without that burden of limitation.
Yep.
You know, financial limitation. Yeah, but it's in the minimal numbers, you know, it's in minimal numbers. Con, earn income tax and they tax what's left. Yeah, sales tax, all that. Con, yeah, exactly. Con. Exactly.
Con, the water Akim for the information also
Right.
that y'all contribute.
Con.
Con. Real quick, this is Sirach 4:1. It says, "My son, defraud not the poor of his living, and make not the needy eyes to wait long."
Right. You see that person is in dire need. You know, but this Edomite don't care. You know?
No.
All these fucking customer service representatives, they fucking sympathize with you, bro. They'll cry with you, you know, they'll yell with you, they'll do all that, but then they'll tell you there's nothing that we can do.
Yeah,
You'll be a loyal customer to
Yeah.
the company for fucking 5 to 10
Decades.
years and you have like a little crisis going on and they don't want to fucking value your
Your need.
you know, your patronage, if you will.
Yeah.
They don't want to honor you
Mhm.
as a long-time customer by trying to really do anything for you. Now, there are some circumstances where they do, but in a lot of cases, man, they're not willing to forgive certain things, you know? Like fucking you miss a payment because you're trying to, you're short maybe a month. These niggas want to fucking, man, listen, I'll just give you a personal experience and maybe brothers can relate. There's been times where you miss a credit card payment and the fucking fee that they charge you for missing the payment is more than the goddamn minimum monthly payment that you owe. It's just fucking ridiculous. How the fuck is it that I miss a payment one time and the fee that you charge me actually is more than what I originally owe you for the minimum monthly due? You just fucking doubled that shit. Well, no shit, no people can't pay that back, man.
I remember I used to have Bank of America, and with Bank of America, you have to have a certain amount of money in your main account, and if it goes below that, they charge you a fee. And they ended up doing that to me, and I was like, that's some.
Yeah, that's wicked. Overdraft fees and all that shit.
Yeah, so I had to switch out. I had to get PNC Bank because Bank of America.
Yeah.
That's
This I have my bank, my bank, I won't say the name, but my bank, these motherfuckers, man, they'll charge you the overdraft fee, and let's say you don't pay it after like 3 or 4 days or something like that, then they charge you an extended overdraft fee, meaning because you didn't pay it within a certain time, then they charge you even more. How the hell would they ever expect their money back if they just keep charging people? You know?
Yeah.
Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority. Yeah, well, hey, I'll get it real quick. We quoted it too. That's the spirit, the water.
God.
Proverbs 29:2. Yeah, that's it, man. That's the reality that we're living in. So these niggas talking about how Trump 2020 and
Trump 2020.
they wanted to keep this thing going, man.
Yeah.
Fuck you. We're looking for the destruction of this place, and that's what we can see. We visibly can see it. We spiritually saw it first. Now we're visibly seeing it manifest in the physical.
God, cry.
This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
And it is clearly evident, man. Everybody in this is in a state of mourning, okay? The overwhelming majority is in a state of mourning, okay?
Shit. God. Another quick one. This Sirach chapter 20.
Look, bro, look at all the protests going on, man.
And it's all over, of course. You got they barely people can barely afford the price of the living.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And they're coming, of course, raising as upwards of people against these governments.
Oh, in Slovakia, it wasn't American Peril that just declared bankruptcy. It was PG&E that just declared bankruptcy. That's major, man. That's huge.
Gas and electric.
You know, they got that shit shut down out in California. They got the wildfires going on.
Yep.
Come on, man. Things are all messed up right now, man.
American done great.
You know, and of course the brothers out there are all in our prayers, man. You know?
Yep, it's Sirach 20:12. There is that buyeth much for little and repayeth it sevenfold.
Go ahead, I can take it, man.
God, it said there is that buyeth much for little.
Yeah.
You know, look, man, when you go to a store, you barely getting nothing. You get a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread organic, $5. You trying to feed the whole Akim and all that. I gotta buy several loaves.
Right.
All right.
Right.
That's three loaves for the Akim All right, for the money I'm giving, I'm only getting a little bit.
Right.
All right, and the prices continue to go up.
Right.
3 plantains, like we was at the camp talking about they got 3 plantains at Giant over here, one of the major supermarkets here in Philadelphia. 3 plantains for $2.
Damn.
You used to be able to get 4 for $1, 5
Right.
for $1. Our whole rack back
Right.
in the day used to
Talking
come
sense.
with,
Yeah,
like,
talking
come on.
sense.
Yeah, you know, Jake. I know Benjamites
Yeah.
live off of plantains.
Yeah,
and stuff.
man. Ephraim,
You know,
Simeon,
Ephraimites, yeah, you know, Tostones, you know, your plantains.
Tostones,
yeah.
Plantanos.
Yeah,
You know?
you know.
Esau has worked on the minds of us to where a lot of Jake loves slavery and oppression. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. And we were just talking about that.
Come,
They don't want to, the scriptures state they stay upon them that smote them.
come,
You know, they have given their trust over to the enemy, man.
come.
But that's gonna fail them, man.
Mhm.
You know, this grand illusion known as America and the American dream and this prosperous spirit, which really don't exist except for, you know, in a false sense of reality, is gonna be put to an end, man. And we see that.
Come. It's like back with the preset.
These lies won't continue forever.
Yeah, it's gonna get put out. The candle of the wicked is gonna get put out.
Right.
Job. Yeah, there is that buyeth much for a little and repayeth it sevenfold. You know, that go with our taxes and stuff. We get taxed to death. All right?
Mhm.
You know? I mean, you of course got your utilities and stuff. You know, they telling you, hey, this usage, they doubling up, tripling up fees and stuff.
Right.
Now you got to make a different contract with them, agreement, in order to pay that off. While, of course, you got other bills you got to pay. And of course, other things within your life, your bare necessities to sustain yourself.
Yep.
Wages not going up, but the prices is.
Mhm.
All right? And it says, verse 13, a wise man, Sirach 20 and 13, a wise man by his words maketh himself beloved, but the graces of fools shall be poured out. And you have obviously different politicians and stuff that keep making these false promises.
Mhm.
We're gonna bring more jobs to America. You know, we're gonna U.S. Steel. We're gonna build the wall with U.S. Steel. You know, and that's gonna push jobs here in America. It's all false promises. America's going down.
Yeah, the truth is while people boast about bringing back jobs to America,
Mhm.
these are jobs that these motherfuckers
Oh,
won't
see?
want to do. No, they're
Yeah,
just jobs that they
yeah.
won't want to do.
Right.
That's the thing about
You
it.
Edomites don't
They
want
talk
that.
crazy like that, where, oh yeah, they're gonna bring jobs back to America, but they're jobs that you won't want to fucking do anyway.
Kind.
Yeah, these people are basically fighting to be a slave.
Right,
They're
right.
Fighting hard.
Kind.
I heard an Edomite say that, man. They said they can keep those fucking jobs over there. I don't want to be working at a plant where I'm fucking
About to chop my finger
soldering little parts together.
Yeah. Let them Chinese do it.
Yeah.
Let them all fight do it. Let
He said
them
they can keep them
Imam
fucking
do
jobs.
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Esau don't want to do work.
Right,
He want Issachar to work.
right.
And then he
As
gonna
much
want
as he don't
Issachar
like
to be
it.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. That be like, yeah, all that. You know, they don't want us here. Going on, it says, I'm gonna skip down. Well, I'm gonna keep reading. It says, the gift of a fool shall do thee no good when thou hast it. Right. All right. Well, we'll give you payday loans. Okay. All right. We'll cover that. We'll forgive you for that. You know.
Right.
It's all just to trap you up into their pit, the system. All right. Into more debt and such. Okay.
Right.
More confusion. You thinking you doing well. You know, and there's some underlying wicked actual plot.
Right. There's always something there, you know, look, there's always something there, man, so as long as we're in
Fine print
captivity.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not even just that. You might bring home that little extra, and then you get fucking pulled over and get a speed ticket. So there goes that money. In one shot, bro.
Right.
In one shot. Because they're going to charge you in the hundreds.
Right.
While these niggas breaking the laws every day
Okay.
that they supposedly upholding.
Yep.
All right? These cops, man, they'll blow out stop signs, red lights, speed. There's no emergency going on, but they'll hypocritically run them lights, go well over the speed limit, and at the same time turn around and give you a ticket for this very same thing when you might be just making a sincere mistake, man. You know?
I got a precept real quick.
Yeah, this is from the Word of Truth 144,000.
Yeah, shalom, y'all. It says
Yeah.
shalom.
This is 1 Timothy
Your
chapter
white is your white is
This 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 17 says, charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power who giveth us richly all things to enjoy.
Yeah, man. That's it. But we're not gonna have that until the kingdom is established.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
Because this Edomite don't know how to rule. You know, as you can see, everything is at an imbalance, and everybody is suffering because of it.
Yep. Back to the Sirach 20 and 14. The gift of a fool shall do thee no good when thou hast it, neither yet of the envious for his necessity. For he looketh to receive many things for
Yeah, it's
one.
kind of like when we got the tax cuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like when we got the tax cuts, everybody thought.
get more money coming back.
But they didn't realize, first of all, what had to happen in order for us to get that money back. You know, who's sponsoring that?
Right.
Okay, you know that's not what people don't understand about that tax cut is it wasn't what you thought, and basically the bigger corporations, they're the ones that really got the tax breaks anyways. They're the ones that saw the most money. It wasn't the average everyday American citizen. Okay, it wasn't, and then that money had to come from somewhere. Who financed that? Well, we did.
Right.
In the long run, it impacted us. So in the short term, you got that quick money, but in the long term, you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yep.
You know, and much more abundantly. So these people are they're messed up, man. They don't know.
Yep.
They don't know their fucking ass from hole in the ground. I got a preset. Trying to, kind of conclude.
Yeah, it's like, we be here all day talking about this.
Yeah, right. This is Isaiah 14 and 9. It says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, meaning the heathen nations. Even all the chief ones of the earth, it has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Right, because we're at a time where the nations are being gathered together for war to bring destruction upon Babylon. Okay? To bring destruction upon Esau, Edom. All right? That's the time that we're living in. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? And right now, America is in a weaker state, okay? They're not able to infiltrate countries and overthrow governments like they once were, okay?
Yeah.
They're having to tread lightly, very carefully, because you got other nations now, such as Russia, being a guard onto these minor nations, or these other nations have been able to finance their military and invest in, nuclear weapons, and basically change the game up, you know?
Yeah, you got some of these, these other nations such as Russia.
Can't bully them around like they once used to be able to do.
Yep, that's it. Yes, they got these different partnerships. Like these weaker nations, say like Venezuela. You got, of course, Russia and China got different economic investments within those countries.
Interests.
You got some of the African nations with Russia, of course,
right,
got different investments there too. Okay.
Right, so they become as weak as thee because now they have to almost back off.
Yeah.
And say, okay, all right.
Right.
Well, now let's see what we can do. They can't just go up and run into a country and overthrow
what they want, blow them away and
right.
stuff. Now these other countries, they have different various allies, partnership with superpowers.
They're being met force is being met with force now.
Right. Now the weak is saying they're strong.
Right.
Come.
It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Ramah, meaning a sign of decay. Yep. So that goes into their economy, their infrastructure, which is obviously an indicator of how the economy is doing. We're not seeing the money, that they collect from us being reinvested into the infrastructure like they claim. And you could see that. Like, while they're investing in technology, of course, their 5G networks and things of that nature, they're not actually improving the foundation in which they're building it upon. Okay, so they're making different investments in technology, but they're not actually investing it back into the infrastructure in which it's going to be utilized. So that's fucking confusion right there. You see all these damn towers they're erecting, and they're putting on buildings that are ready to fucking fall over.
Yeah, 5G towers and such. They're on these
dilapidated buildings.
Yeah, fucking. You see
the roadways.
Yeah, different.
Man, listen, I don't know if a brother lives in, because I think it would be a competition if I were to say Philly got the worst fucking roads. I know another brother would be like, nah, man, you got to come to this city and see this shit.
Right.
I remember I had that argument. I had this ride share. And I had this argument. They said, nah, man.
My city.
They call this city the crater.
Right.
Nah, man, you haven't seen them Philly roads. But that's how bad the infrastructure is, man. You can make it a goddamn competition, man.
God.
How bad everything is.
D minus.
Yeah.
Rated
Well,
D minus.
Shit, it's what? That's years ago.
Right.
It's worse now.
F.
Because that money
F.
being put back in, it's like Rome all over again. bro.
Con.
They stopped investing in, they were investing way too much in the military. Military's being spread thin. They were demonetizing their currency or debasing it.
Yeah, debasing, yeah.
Is what I meant to say.
Different metal, yeah.
Right, which is what they've done.
Yeah.
And they stopped investing in their infrastructure.
Yep.
It was dilapidated.
Yep.
You know? Dilapidated, I mean.
Yeah.
So that's literally the condition of America. Nothing new under the sun. So this place is on its way out. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Okay? I'm just gonna stop there, you know?
Okay.
Also get Jeremiah 51 and get Job 14. And you can just read the point in Job 14. And yeah, you can start at 5. Just read 5.
Yeah, this is Job 14:5.
Right.
Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass.
Right. So we're at the end of them bounds. You know, we're at the end of that rulership.
Yep.
So he cannot pass. So just follow up with Jeremiah. That speaks for itself. We're at the time of Esau Edom's rulership, and there's no way that this man can gain any type of traction or advantage to regain his kingdom back, because we're at the time of the prophecy where the Lord said that Esau's the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Yeah. Meaning the end of that rulership or age. We're at the end of Esau's age, man. And all that do wickedly.
This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad.
Yeah.
Heavy too, man.
Go ahead.
It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed.
And she's not going to be able to be healed. Okay, the solution is for these other nations to rain that fire upon America. Okay, Babylon, as it's known in the scriptures, and vice versa, Babylon to rain their missiles on these other nations. Okay, that's what's getting ready to happen. That there is no bomb, there's no stimulus. Okay, there's no amount of fiat currency you could pump in the system or anything that this Edomite can do to retain his rulership and power and dominion over the earth.
Yeah, your global reset with the RFID microchip.
Right, that's not going to work either. That's going to fail you, because that's the ultimate goal.
Right.
You know, that's the ultimate goal. That's how they want to reset things and, in their mind, restore balance. And by balance, I mean to continue their rule. To keep the influence and dominion over the people, which is just not going to happen. These other nations aren't going to let it happen. The Lord is going to put a different spirit on these nations, because they've accepted to a degree the beast system, you know, because the beast system is really throughout the world right now. Okay, on different levels. But at the end, like the scriptures say, this is going to speak. It's not going to lie. So these nations are ultimately going to destroy America with thermonuclear fire. And whatever these nations don't do, Yahweh Shai is going to do, okay, with the mighty angels from heaven, with their pure fire. Okay, Isaiah 66:15, the slain of the Lord shall be many. You know what? Continue to read.
Verse 9 says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed.
Right, so these niggas talking about America's in the best case scenario. Donald Trump has done the most for America. It's bullshit. Read that again.
It says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies.
Right, her judgment is reached unto heaven and is lifted up even unto the skies. So the Most High sees America's sins.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And through the prophets, okay, and different revelations through the Spirit, Esau has been exposed for the devil that he is. His skirt has been lifted up. And once that happens, once the Lord exposes your sins, the destruction is what follows. So that's the time that we're in, and we can see it. Okay? We see it infrastructurally, economically, globally. This kingdom, the world, and its influence, okay, of the so-called white man is at its end.
Yeah.
Read down to 10.
Okay. Verse 10 says, Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness, Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh, our power.
And that's what we've been set up to do, to declare the work in Zion of our power. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is coming to deliver his elect out of the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, our families, our loved ones. Lord's will, they be a part of that 1/3, that other multitude, okay, which will consist of Israelites, okay, scattered abroad, scattered amongst these other nations as well, who are actual Israelites. That's who salvation is for. That's the work that we're here to declare. Also, that the Lord is destroying our enemies, which is Esau, Edom. That's enemy number 1, along with the heathen nations. So that's the work we're going to continue to declare to all these things, all right, manifest and come to pass. So, with that, all right, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Lord's elect and all you sincere Akim out there, okay? And Akwathium, all right?
Shalom.
Shalom.